What's up, guys? This is the Podcast Boys back with episode 152. Today, we're joined by no guest. Just me and Colin today.
You're joined by me.
I'm joined by Colin.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a good episode. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple things. We got a couple things on the agenda. First, we're going to mention the grind and the problems with that. Then, we're going to be talking about why you can't accomplish shit. And the last thing we're going to talk about is the importance of social media presence and how to improve that. So let's get on to our first thing here. I'm going to pull up my phone. And
let's do it. While you're getting it up, dude, the weather has been fucking good lately.
Yeah.
It's like summer weather, dude. It's
middle.
It just started May. So that's interesting.
It's got like such a big like effect on like your mental health, I find.
100%.
Because I find like when it's sunny, dude, like I can like wake up and I'm just like
so nice.
in such a good mood. Like
yeah.
I don't know, I'm so much more happy, and then I feel like I don't know, for like productivity though, I think I like become less productive because I think like, I want to like go out and enjoy it rather than like being home and like study or edit.
For me, I become more vibrant during the better weather. I could become more like out there and more like, I don't know. That's how I would describe that.
Yeah, I agree for sure. But yeah, it's nice. It's getting really hot. Like today was 25. In the studio right now, it's 75 degrees Fahrenheit.
I think that's 23.
Yeah.
I want to double check, but I think that's 23. It's not too bad right now.
Yeah. But in Vancouver, like, it's hot now, man. Like,
yeah.
it feels like summer pretty much, just to put in perspective. So.
Well, it is summer weather.
Yeah.
Like right now outside it's 21.
Yeah.
And then 75 Fahrenheit is 23.
Yeah.
Celsius.
So yeah, pretty much that's like I think our usual temperature in the summer, around 23 to like 30, like
yeah.
But like in the beginning of summer, like
30.
23. Well, when it have like with the heat waves and shit, usually gets
heat waves are like
30.
That's what they
30
consider.
plus, but yeah. So yeah.
Here's how I see it. Anywhere between 20 and 29 is good.
Yeah, dude. Once you get past like 30, it's just like unbearable. Like it's brutal. So freaking hot. But
it was 40 2 years ago. I remember shit that was bad. I remember being in an air conditioned room. It was 29 degrees, and I thought that was so nice.
Oh yeah, dude. Everyone's got like AC nowadays. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it kind of sucks though.
Yeah, and then like the one year with the heat wave, all the ACs like sold out, and so like everyone is just like it was brutal. People were getting like heat stroke and stuff.
People were dying. It was like 35 in my bedroom. I had to sleep in my parents' bedroom because they had an AC.
Yeah.
I slept in the closet, dude. Fuck.
The worst thing about like Vancouver is that like other like cities are actually prepared for that sort of heat, but we're just completely not. Like nowhere has AC until a couple years ago, and like even now still like it's hard to find it, and like especially like different places of work. Like my sister works in she works in a cafe right now, and she says like it's gonna be brutal by summertime because they don't have like AC and like a fan.
Cooking it up, dude.
And then also
making
like
hot coffee.
Yeah, I work in a restaurant too, so like when you're in there in the back, it gets hot generally just because the like stove tops are right there. But yeah, no AC is gonna be brutal. We got a fan though, but I mean that's not that great when you're like it's super hot.
Well, during the heat wave, I remember that it was spewing out hot air.
Oh yeah.
I guess at that point it's just about circulation.
Yeah, exactly. You just keep the air moving and like
keep that air flowing, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we can get into our first topic here. About why you haven't accomplished shit. So, shout out Raph. We were discussing this before. No, not just like people in general. Yeah. Like why people are so like motivated to do stuff and they just can't follow through. I find that like to use an example of myself, I have a lot of like ambition and like drive for myself. But when it comes like to getting around to like doing it and actually starting it, I find it like super difficult. Whether that be like business, homework, studying, like just all these like little things in life. And there's a couple examples where I think I do like really good, especially with the podcast. Is something that we just sort of started and then we like, I don't know, grew upon.
Facts.
But in terms of like business, I think it's really hard for teenagers, especially like our age, to get started because I know so many people are like passionate about it, but they actually just don't follow through on that and they don't put the time and the effort into actually getting started. And so we were talking, me and Ralph, about like why we think that is. And so we were talking about people over researching. So a lot of times people research and they feel like they're doing something productive because they're learning about whatever it is, the skill, the business, just the industry in general. And then by researching, like they almost over research. So they research so much that they like information overload. They get confused, and then they think that they have to do so much more than they actually do, like to get started. And so they almost like stress themselves out, and then nothing ends up happening. So I think that's a big thing, especially in our generation, I'd say, because I think you can definitely fall into that rabbit hole a bit. You start with YouTube videos, then you go into other YouTube videos, and then books, and then websites, and this, and I feel like it can be very overwhelming, especially when you're just starting.
You gotta take it step by step.
100%. And I think that's sort of touched on the next point we have here is it's easier to continue than it is to start. So for us, we just kind of started the podcast. I mean, like, we were younger too.
For us, it was a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once you get past that bump and you start smooth sailing, once you take off,
Exactly. And I think like the hardest part is like the start. So as soon as you can get started and you can get just like into a good like schedule and routine, that really helps, because then you have something to like
go off of,
and it's just like it's set. Like, okay, for us it's like film every Tuesday, video up by Sunday. I know it's not always Sunday, but
when I call you, hey, it's 9:00, it's getting a bit late, are you sure you're gonna get it up on Sunday? No, I got it.
But it's good to also have like that. Sometimes working in teams is also good because you have that like initial motivation, because I know a lot of people struggle with that, especially with like businesses and stuff like that, and just like sticking through with your initial plan. So that's another like important part about like even teamwork, like contributing to that. So I just say that is also very important. But yeah, back to my main point about like being easier to continue or than to start. Like even us, like we started when we were really young. And sort of like when you fall in that routine, it's like, why would I not do this? You know what I mean? Like, why would we not podcast? Like taking a couple hours out of our day to just like film, and then obviously the editing process and stuff too. But once you start, then you want to improve. And I think people get so caught up on trying to be perfect right from the get-go, like right from the jump. They're trying to be the best they can. And although that's good sometimes, right? You want to be at a good place. You don't want to be like have shit quality when you start. Without that, you can't really get much better, because you're sort of like capping your improvement, if that makes sense. So that's another way to think about it. But I don't know. I think that people should definitely just start and just like keep going, like improve as you go on.
If you're gonna do something, then do it right.
Exactly.
That's how I see it.
And then even this week, I was asking my dad about that. I was like, "What do you think about that?" And he's like, "Just do it, man. Like Nike, the slogan." It's there for a reason. Like, just do it. Because so many people just get wrapped up on the little things. So it's really important to just stick with it and just do it. Yeah, so on to the next thing that I want to talk about that sort of, like, relates to this is, like, attention span. So even my physics teacher, he gets, like, really, like, emotional with us. And, like, whenever, like, he rants just for, like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in our class just about, like social media and this and that. And there is some truth to what he says. So he was talking about like attention span, and there's like all these studies done where kids our age and like teenagers, their attention span is so low. They can't focus for more than like a minute and 20 seconds it was to like focus on a thing before they get like distracted and they have to do something else. And so he was talking about
it was longer. I heard it was like half an hour or something. It was like half an hour, 40 minutes where you can completely focus on something, but no matter how interested you are in it, you will get sidetracked and just think of something else. Yeah,
and I mean, it's so true. Like, even as he was saying that, kids were, like, playing with their pencils or, like, even just, like, little things. And it's so true. Like, you can so easily see how distracted, like, our generation is as a whole. And I think, like, the majority of that comes from just social media being, like, that dopamine, like the instant hit and like instant gratification as well. Like
TikTok.
Yeah, you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram Reels, Snapchat, dude, they're all the same. YouTube Shorts. You just scroll, and you just get sort of like lost in that like rabbit hole. So, I think that definitely contributes to our attention span as a whole, as a generation. Which is it sucks, man, because you really a lot again with this thing, like a lot of people want to do stuff and they want to have like aspirations and goals and businesses and things to like work towards, but they just get stuck with that. They over research.
Yeah, not just that. It could be like substance abuse. It
Exactly.
could be something else outside of that.
Yeah, and then like let's say they're like researching, and then you fall into, oh, this short's like informational, and then you keep going, and then it just gets less and less and less, and you just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So, yeah, I think that's another really big thing. Another thing that I was thinking about doing that I actually really want to start is like dopamine detox or some sort of form of like fasting from social media. And I think it would be really beneficial, especially like wrapping up school with finals and stuff. I think it would be really cool, and I think that would also be cool if we like document it, like if we'd both go in on it.
Count me out.
Write about it.
Okay, so yeah, I don't like. I've said this before. I don't like to bite the hand that feeds us, but I really do not like TikTok. Many reasons why. I don't really want to get into that now, but that's a big reason.
Yeah.
I wish Instagram and I wish YouTube did not put the Shorts feature and the Reels feature for a reason. TikTok has that. Let that be their thing. And I get they want to copy it because ultimately they will get more famous, more popular, more, they will have a better outcome when it comes to money and just like people watching it if they have Reels and Shorts added.
Yeah.
But it sucks for people like me. I'm not the only one that does not want to go and scroll and scroll and scroll through Reels and just random shit after random shit. Because I don't like that. And I wish that Instagram did not add Reels. And I wish YouTube Shorts did not add that. Because, I don't have TikTok for a reason. So that's how I see it. But other than that, I like using Instagram. I like using YouTube. But those features, I do not. I wish you could disable those, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be a really good option. But the other thing is, like, I find when I go on it, sometimes, like, most of the time I go onto YouTube, like, with a purpose. Like, okay, I want to find a video. Or I'm just trying to relax. And I have some sort of, like, genre of content that I want to watch.
But Shorts is just like, I'm bored, let's go see what's up.
And then the bad thing about that is you just keep going because it's like, oh, okay, like I want to learn about this. Oh, this is interesting. And like there's so many things happening all at once. But the most interesting part about it all is after you scroll for like 5-10 minutes, half an hour, however much like time passes, a lot of the time you don't even remember half the shit you just watched. So you could sit there for hours and hours and hours, and you couldn't tell me one video you actually watched or, like, remembered. So that's the other thing. You just lose track of time, and it's so hard to, like, be, like, cognizant of, like, the content you're watching. The other thing I hate about that, too, is, like, I'd way rather watch, like, a full-length, like, video or even, like, a movie or something that actually is, like, more impactful.
Sit down, relax, take time.
And, like, actually think about it. Like, even our podcast, like, I think podcasts are sort of like a different, I guess it's a smaller genre on YouTube. And even, like, video essays and, like, documentaries are, like, smaller, more niche
compared
categories.
To vlogs or compared to DIYs.
Yeah, like the 5-minute or the 7-minute, like, golden ratio algorithm video. But I think that there's, like, a place for that in podcasting and video essays and documentaries, because I think people actually want to consume more meaningful content, especially with the rise of like short form content, because so many people are scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I think there's a need for that, and I think over the next couple of years that will like what the trends shift towards is longer form content. I think there's almost a need for it right now because there's just so much shit out there that people don't like watching. Yeah, so I think the benefits of like social media detox, which is why I want to try it. First off, I can like recommend it to you guys if it's actual bullshit, if it's worth it, and like what happens. But then the bad thing is, again, we have the podcast, so I actually have to like, I don't know, edit and stuff. And like I find it like inspirational for me, especially like I watch a lot of podcasts too. So that's another thing that like goes on with it. Obviously, like you can use audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. But I just think some of the, like it's hard to go cold turkey because there's a lot of stuff that is actually
good,
beneficial that I watch, and then there's
that's
some
why
parts.
I wouldn't, just solely because of that, and it's like some other stuff. But
yeah, like I think the hardest part for me for starting that is like I have to reason with myself, like I have to put a sort of like plan in place so I can actually achieve that. So like whether that be even like getting like a flip phone or something, so I don't have like a physical phone with.
I was actually funny. So that I was actually thinking about that and thinking like, hey, it might be good to get a flip phone.
Yeah, and I know this one guy at my school did it. He did it for exam week. He has a flip phone for all of exam week or like the month before, and he said he did a lot better on his exam.
You don't even have to get a flip phone. The first phone I had was an LG where it slid out into a keyboard so you can text as well.
Yeah.
Text, call, that's like the biggest thing when it comes to communication with your peers.
Yeah.
Just
one of these social media guys, or one of these like guys on the podcast that I watch, he was saying he has 2 phones. So he's got a kale phone and a cocaine phone, and his kale phone's got it's just like, this is the phone he uses for texting, calling, communicating with family, friends. All this stuff is like positive shit. And then he has his cocaine phone, and that has Instagram, Facebook, because he's a like content creator too, so he needs that stuff. But he says by having 2 different phones, it really like limits the use on those apps and like on those.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd be down to have that, but it gets pricey.
Yeah. But even like using like a second phone or an old phone that you have.
Just don't have any apps on it.
Yeah, only using it for that. And then he said the other thing is like one of the phones, obviously you don't have a SIM card on the other one. So I don't know how that works. Like so it means like you actually have to go home and be like connected to Wi-Fi. So you can't just like mindlessly scroll. And that as well is positive, because I think like if you're out in public, like one thing that I've been trying to do more recently and be more like cognitive about is like friendly in public.
In the moment with friends.
And even with friends, like at lunch, we'll go sit down and we used to play these games on our phones, and everyone would just be like locked in on the game.
iPad kids at dinner.
Yeah, literally. And
I'm not letting my fucking kid do that.
Yeah.
iPad at dinner, get the fuck out of here.
Exactly, and it's like I want people like to connect with each other.
Be in the
like,
moment. Be in the moment.
And like enjoy our company, and everyone's fucking sitting and doing this. So like recently we started doing like card games at lunch. So we're playing like Cheat, Goldfish,
Gotta.
21, Speed, just like a bunch of games like that. And I think it's fun because we're all like competitive, but it's like
you fuck with solitaire.
We actually played the solitaire today, and we just got fucked by the cards. And everyone's like, I don't think you're doing it right, but. I think that's cool. Like even board games and like cards, I think is so cool because you get away from just like
snakes and ladders.
Phones, and it's like it still has that like competitive. If you're playing games, like it still has that competitive edge.
Yeah, Monopoly. Look how long that can go.
Oh yeah, hours, even days. I know people that like would play like once a week or something. They play on like the weekends, and it took them like years to finish like the same.
I haven't played Monopoly in I'd say years.
But it kind of goes to show you that, like, people can't even finish a Monopoly game nowadays. Like, people will go out. I know, me and my friends.
I don't know who did a Monopoly game anytime recently.
Set out, like, we're like, we're going to do a Monopoly game. And we're at a sleepover, and it's, like, late. And then everyone's like, yeah, honestly, I don't really care. And they just give up. Like, so many people just don't have the attention span to, like, focus on something.
I would love to do that, honestly. If any guys, any friends watching, hit me up, bro. Maybe me and Justin will start that Monopoly sleepover. I'd be so down.
Monopoly.
We'll put our phones away. So no distraction.
Lock them in. But yeah, and then sort of like adding to this, we had in school I'm in a class like human geography, and we're just talking about like diffusion of like technology and like all that stuff. And one of the things we watched, Social Dilemma. It's one of those movies, like you've probably seen it. Like our school, we watch it like 5 times. You see it in like all different subjects. Yeah. But the main takeaway that we had from this class was that like social media is not neutral. And so that just means that like you may think that it's a neutral relationship, but when you use social media, you use it without even like subconsciously like realizing it and like the purpose behind that. So the example that they used in the class is like, let's say you get an axe. And as soon as you obtain this axe, now you see the world as like, what can I cut down with this axe? You know what I mean? And you start seeing things differently because you say, oh, this tree right here, I could definitely cut that down with an axe. Or this guy's leg, I could definitely slice it off with my axe. But again, like if you have a phone, the way you like interpret like reality is like you just see everything differently because your attention span now is the thing that's being affected, and not like what you can do with it, but it's like how it can use you. And so that's why it's not neutral, because you have these groups of like developers and programmers and software guys literally like finding the perfect formulas and like how they can design the app to make you addicted to it and make you just keep scrolling forever. So it just explains like why it's not neutral, and it's honestly like
they want to fuck with my time, bro.
Yeah, because they say like if something's not being sold directly to you and it's completely free, the chance is that you're the product.
Fortnite, I can think of right away.
Yeah, Exactly. It's like
V-Bucks.
Yeah. You're
Robux.
You're the product to them. They sell the data or whatever. It's all these different companies, but you are the product. And so by having you in there, they're just getting more data and more data, which they can then sell and like use for their own good. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and it really makes me like want and like consider doing that like detox thing. But then again, like the specifications of doing that, I think is what like sets me back, and like I have to really put in the plans in place. And I think also I'd want to do it with someone so that I can have like competition.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm like
and motivation.
Yeah, competition and motivation. Because I think I'm like pretty competitive, and that if I have those two things, I can actually like go forward with it and stay like committed to it. So I think that would be a big help with that. What I want to cover now is like what you can do to stay productive and to actually accomplish these goals that you set in place for yourself. And so the first thing that we came up with is starting small. So obviously you start small. If you can't start small, how are you going to get big? And so Atomic Habits, a book that I read this year, explained it really well. He says he has this rule, the 2-minute rule. So if you can show up every day just for 2 minutes, regardless of what that is, if it's going to the gym, if it's studying, if it's eating healthy, if you can do that activity or that goal you have just for 2 minutes every single day, and only 2 minutes, I'm talking like 2 minutes and then you put it away, you'll start becoming the person that does that every single day. And even if you're only doing it for 2 minutes, you start building upon the habit. And let's say a week goes by and you've been doing it for 2 minutes every week. Then you can start 3 minutes. And then 3 minutes becomes 5. 5 minutes becomes 10. 10 becomes 30. 30 becomes an hour. And you become the person that has that routine and that schedule in place that can actually follow through with like your initial thought. So having a routine in place I think is important too, because then you have that like set date to go do it. You know what I mean? Even like timing, like I find in my calendar sometimes I'll put like the times. And then I know like if I have the time in there, I'll actually do it. But if I have an event in there and there's no like time slot, like I just like won't do it. Or like I'm like, oh, I can just do it later. And then I push that again and I keep pushing it, like keep kicking the can down the road. And then it just never gets done, which is like sucks. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, the last thing is like motivation. So like people get super,
gotta have it.
And like the thing is with motivation is like you can't, like I could tell you all the shit and like you would still not do anything. Like if you're not intrinsically motivated,
all up to you, dude.
Yeah, it's how you like decide what to do. And there's so many like motivational videos, motivational quotes, all these things you can do, but still people just don't follow through with it. And that really comes from you. Like I could say all this shit and you still couldn't do anything. So this one guy on a podcast, this is pretty like existentialist, but it kind of made me think and like reevaluate. But one of the things he was talking about is like death as like the chief motivator for like anything you do. So like let's say I want to do this dopamine detox thing. I could die and I could literally die tomorrow. Like death is like pretty much the only thing that's certain in life pretty much. So I could literally die tomorrow and I would still have the regret of not doing this dopamine detox thing. And then I'd have the regret of I spent so much time on my phone and I never like challenged myself.
You'd regret it if you're dead, but you would regret it if there's a heaven.
Exactly. Like, just like
any afterlife.
But even then, like I just regret like how much time I'd like spent on my phone and like how much time I could have been socializing and like connecting with my peers and classmates and friends. So like it just really makes you think. It sort of like makes you reevaluate your position, because like a lot of the times in life we're like super wrapped up in everything's around us and like we almost think we're gonna live forever. But it's really not true. Like, you don't know your life is certain, right?
Dude, some people think that they did this in The Good Place in the TV show. So for me, a big fear of mine is death, solely because I don't know what's after death, right? And when I have my life here, I don't think of death on a day-to-day basis. I just think of my life and where I'm living. I'm not going to die anytime soon. I could, but probably not. I just don't think about that, right? Because it's not something you commonly would think about. And with that, you know, when people go to heaven, let's say there is a heaven. When people go to heaven and they have eternity there, don't you think they're going to get a little bit bored or a little bit like, because with death, people think that with death, that's what draws the line with Earth. So like if I'm on Earth, I have a purpose because it's my life. I'm going to die. That's my purpose. But people think that in heaven, there's no purpose for your life because you're just there forever. So in The Good Place, in the TV show, they actually make it so that there's an exit door. So you leave and then you're just gone. You're once you've had enough in heaven, you're just done. You're gone into, whatever. You're just poof gone. And that's what a lot of atheists think. Because I get their point, and that's really hard for me to say. Like, but I use my argument of like, well, I don't, I'm not thinking of death. There's nothing that is motivating me because of death. So I think that like it's the same thing for heaven, if there is a heaven, with like, well, I'm not thinking about death. Like I'm fine to do whatever I want. It's the same for me right now in my life. So what do you think of that? That's an interesting theory. Very interesting.
The way I think about it is like I use death almost to like you sort of reassess. Like even with school, like one of the things that's been on my mind like a lot over the past like month, because we have course selection, we're getting closer to grade 12, is like thinking about like what I want to do in my life, because there's so much pressures about like doing this and you have to do this and like you have to go down this route. Mm-hmm. And like when you think about it, like let's say I'm gonna like spend whatever 4 years in college, and I'm gonna be, let's say I'm like super unhappy with it and like what I chose, and then I die, like with that is my final like days is just like dreading going to school, dreading to do this. And I think like obviously it's not it's valuable to like think about death, but it's not good to like dread it. Like if you're dreading it every single day and that's something that you always think about, I think it can have like a really negative effect on your life. But I think using it as like a juxtaposition to like what you can do in your life is valuable. But just doing it on the right time and like not thinking about that all the time. Obviously, you don't want to become like existential and think you're gonna die tomorrow. But I think just sometimes like considering the fact that like, hey, like life is short. I could die tomorrow, so I gotta like live it to the best I can, right? And do what will like make you happy. But I'm not saying like indulge in like short-term indulgences and like drinking, smoking, vaping, whatever. But like just think about that and think about like what you can do where you want to be, but also don't like be miserable now, right? Like don't live your life for your 80s, 90s, right? An interesting point is like
of the moment.
Like the one thing that like I don't know, I find like unattractive about like going to college and working like 9 to 5 is that like people live their life for their retirement, and then when they get to that retirement, they're so old, they have like dementia, their body's not there, and then they've lived their life for this point, and now they don't have the energy or the time to go do that, right? Okay, yeah, so the next thing I kind of want to talk about is is the grind. So like so many people get caught up with like grinding and like being in that place and like just like I don't know, almost like disregarding everything else just to focus on that one thing. And I think it's a really interesting mindset, because I think grinding, like, it's important, like, for, like, what you want to do. And, like, I think you should, like, be able to sacrifice what you want to do for, like, a bigger cause and, like, a purpose. But I think, like, sometimes it can be very negative and, like, people can have a bad, like, perception on it and, like, bad perspective. So, yeah, like, what do you think about that?
Well, like, I can think of an example right now. Let's say you're editing a video and you have to stay up all night because you didn't do it earlier, and you're on that grind mentality, so I'm going to have a bunch of espresso and get fucked up off of caffeine just because I want to get this video out. The grind. It's like, you're looking at it the wrong way, dude. You should have made time for it earlier. That is a grind. Managing your time wisely, grinding that out, putting in the work, putting in the effort. The grind isn't staying up all night, drinking coffee, and getting fucked up because you haven't got enough sleep and you're editing a video. So that's kind of an example that I thought of right away.
Yeah. I think there's a big, like, negative connotation around the grind, because I think so many people see it as, like, an unhealthy obsession over something or, like, towards a goal or a purpose. But I think it doesn't have to be viewed that way. And I think a lot of people have that because of what they've experienced. A good example is, like, parents that are, like, or people that are just super, like, focused on their one goal, their mission, their purpose, that they disregard, like, their family or spend, like, less time with their family. And, like, it's really, like, unfortunate. It's quite sad.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people, like, I don't know, even like from personal experience, we'll think about like just bad like relationship to the grind. But I think that those like relationships between like let's say like families and parents who are just always grinding all the time don't have it like figured out the right way, because I think the grind should not be that. It should never be that. And I think like you said with the time management is really about how you should manage your time. So I think it's like
100%.
Let's say a family like this, whatever, parent is like grinding and they like don't make time for their kids. Like that's unhealthy. Obviously, you want to have a relationship with your family.
Fucking idiots.
But like I think they should be able to like manage your time wisely. Like I think so many people are just so like engulfed with their own purpose that they're almost like narcissistic in a way, where they don't like have respect.
I gotta do this. I gotta do that. No, get away.
Yeah, like they don't even have respect or like
dignity in something that's not that grind.
Exactly, and like for a bigger purpose. And it's really just like this to get like philosophical, but it's like what's your like sunum bonum, like what's your greatest good?
Do you speak English there?
Sunum bonum, it translates to like your greatest good, like, or almost like what's your purpose in life. And like is your purpose power, wealth, money? There's like a whole list of things that it could be, but it's
what
like,
do you think the purpose of your life is?
I don't know, man. I think I'm still trying to figure that out.
Deep ass question.
I
don't think there's a right answer to that.
A lot of people, I guess religious people, would say God as their greatest good. Virtue.
That's your life purpose, is God. You're devoting your whole life to God. I don't. That's a bit far-fetched. I mean, no, there is people like that, but like I don't think that's healthy. The grind of religion. I
don't see religion as a grind, because I think it's more of like a relationship.
Yes.
Rather than a grind.
Yes.
Because I think it's really how you perceive faith and how you go about it.
But you can grind some things. I can say I'm grinding out going to church every day.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But in general, yeah, it's not a grind.
Yeah, because it's not like...
It's a faith.
Yeah, it's not like you're just grinding like, oh, I did 5 good things, I'm going to heaven now. You know what I mean? It's not like, okay, I'm going to grind out every good single task, you know? Like, I feel like it's not like that, but it's more of like how you live your life as a whole. Because I think religion is more than just like 5 tasks a day. Check it off the list. Okay, I can be bad now. You know what I mean?
It's a given.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Santa Claus did it the whole month of December. Oh, I'm good. You know, gifts and not cold. But then, you know, fucking January rolls around. Yeah, I'm vandalizing shit. It's like, bro.
Yeah.
Kids, man.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. Like, I think in philosophy we're doing like different philosophers and like their like pretty much purpose in life. And a lot of it, some of them is like education. St. Thomas Aquinas, the saint.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out STA. His greatest good or like purpose is God. And he has like a list of like what he thinks is like the least smart, like the least wise to the most wise in terms of value. And so like the least was wealth, because he's saying if that's your greatest good, when do you stop? Like if you're so wealthy and you become so successful, that dollar amount is never enough to satisfy. Because people say, oh, I'll stop once I get $1 million, $2 million. Then it keeps going. Because people are so competitive with themselves that they naturally just want to like surpass that. And there's really no end. Like if you look at the biggest, the most richest, like successful people in the world, do you think they stopped at like $1 million? Because they could completely satisfy all their needs with a couple million. But no, they keep going. Like look at Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. And they're in like the billion range, right? So then you could also think, okay, maybe their greatest good isn't
wealth, but you know, intelligence, because you have to get that money somehow, unless you win the lottery.
One of the other ones, I don't know the exact order. Like I had in my notes book in school, but another one is power. And so a lot of people like want power to be their greatest good. So you can see that. I would say even like Jeff Bezos and like Elon Musk, I'd say their greatest good or like purpose would be like power, because you see all the stuff that they're trying to do. Elon Musk is trying to like send rockets into space and like get us to Mars and shit. And I think it like overall it's like this idea of power and having that idea of like authority over people is like maybe their purpose. Like obviously I don't know them, so I can't say for sure. But
I think only God knows your purpose.
Exactly.
Or even, you know what? There might not even be a purpose. There might not. I think maybe we could be looking at this at the wrong angle, right? There might not be a singular purpose of somebody's life, unless you want to have a purpose, and then you can choose that for yourself. But I don't think the universe gives you a purpose and then you have to fulfill that by figuring out your life. That's what I believe. But
the most interesting thing about like life is that you can just like choose how you want to live it.
yeah,
It's such like a big thing because people really think that they're like predestined for one thing, especially like okay, this is again like college and university. The reason I'm so like against it is because I feel like you're making your decision so quick. I'm doing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
and I have to spend
it's a
4
weird
years,
process, dude.
especially when you're so young.
There's like a
'cause I
multiverse
think,
out there where that's not the case. Do you want to go to university? I don't remember. Like, what you said.
I don't know. Like, I'm still on the fence about it. Like, I don't want to go, but like, what else?
I don't
want
to go. I think I should just for what I would want to do in life. Like, I don't have a plan because I think we talk about this, it's kind of dumb, but if you do have a plan that it does not require school-related jobs. If I wanted to become a pro boxer, go to boxing classes, get good on that. I don't need school for that.
Yeah.
So if I want to be a fucking doctor, you go to fucking school. Don't go on YouTube. Get educated.
Yeah, even like self-education, man. Like so many people like disregard that, but like remember what we were saying in episode
149.
149. It was like top 5 things, or not top 5 things, but like top
148,
3 things. Forbes like Fortune 1000 companies look for is like one of the top things is experience, not just education, but like more so experience and like being in the field. But I think education's almost like a way to get to that. But touching back on that point of like purpose, one of the things, the reason why St. Thomas Aquinas says that wealth isn't like the purpose of life is because wealth is like a means to an end. So like if you have wealth as your end, there's not really a point because you can have a bunch of money, but what are you going to do with it? The purpose of like money is so you can buy things, and if you buy things, then maybe you could be happy, right? So there's a whole list of things that it goes on to, but I think that's
can money buy happiness?
I would say it can't buy happiness itself, but it can buy the opportunities that can grant happiness.
Gonna be more.
Because I think, but then again, there's like mental health and mental disorders. You could be depressed and you could be a millionaire and still be depressed. Because I think you're still chasing that like endless bag. Like what's your purpose at that point, right? You're successful, you're made. Like I would say for me, if once I get to that point, like family. Like, I think family and like.
No, I would definitely provide. Yeah.
Yeah, I think having that purpose would be like. But then what would you do for your family?
Yeah. Also, I wouldn't provide. I would not. Yeah, I would provide for the family, but like you were saying, like there's a certain point. But I think mental health, you can't really affiliate that with money, because like you just pointed out, you can be depressed in money. I don't like how people affiliate that because, at the end of the day, like money doesn't have to do with anything when it comes to mental health. Like it's just part of it. Like it can be just part of it, but like I don't see any automatic affiliation. Like someone were to say, "Why are you sad? You're rich." It's like, what does that have anything to do with why I'm sad? I could have a family issue. I could have a physical issue, right? I could, so.
I agree on your point, because then so people could be super poor and they can still be genuinely happy and like content. A good example is like people in Africa, like a lot of them,
they're dancing it up.
They're poor, like they live in like horrible houses.
Look at Sudan.
But they're happy. Like a lot of them are like genuinely happy and like grateful for what they have. And I think that's one thing that we're not good at, and especially in like Western
rich kids
society. Yeah, we're just like so ungrateful for all the things we have. And again, it's just trying to fill the void or like whatever it is. We're just like this next thing, right? And like people just aren't grateful for what they have, which is quite sad.
Unfortunately, it's facts.
One of the things that I was questioning like this week was just like, can you enjoy the grind? Like, do you think you can genuinely enjoy like sitting there?
I think so, because if you're doing something you enjoy, because let's use the gym for example. Some people don't like going to the gym because you're in like pain, or not pain, but like you don't want to be there because you're not comfortable when you're working out. Some people that's not true. Some people, they like that feeling of uncomfort. So you can have a gym grind and you can, get stronger as your end goal, and you can still enjoy going to the gym. So I think you can.
I think it's important to like identify what people determine the grind as.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think some person's grind could be different from another person's grind. Especially like we talked about being like having like a healthy grind.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Even if that is a thing. Because I would say like a grind is almost like, I would I don't know, categorize it as like a unhealthy obsession over a particular goal or purpose.
It could be.
So that's where it's kind of hard to draw the line, because it's like,
Yeah.
what do you consider?
It's all up to
it
you
be?
then.
Yeah, but I think in terms of like my approach towards like grinding, and like I feel like the grind that I guess I would be on is like self-improvement, like trying to become
The
better.
best version.
Especially like going to the gym, reading, school. I've been doing better in school now, which is good. But like stuff like that, I'd say like is a grind. It's not necessarily more of like just I don't know. It's more of something that like you embody like day in day out. You know what I mean? It's like trying to get a little bit better every day than rather like grinding it all out. Because when I think of grind, I think of like someone sitting down at their desk for 12 hours getting something done, rather than it being like a journey or like a long like journey, I guess. I don't know.
It's facts.
What do you think? Do you think it's like a short term, long term?
Depends how long it takes for you to succeed in what you want to have a grind. Like, let's say I want to set out to get 200 pounds when I'm 100 pounds. Like, that's going to be a big grind, for a while. But if you are having a grind of, oh, I want to read a book, short term.
Yeah.
Short term and then long term grinds.
I guess that like I think a grind would be like you have a specific goal in place. Like I think a
Mhm.
genuine grind would be you have a specific goal in place
You're constantly working at it.
and you work at it all day, like every day.
All
much.
day, every day. Yep.
But then I don't know. It's interesting to think about like what do you determine to be a grind? Because I think it's definitely not the same for everyone. Someone's grind could be a lot different than someone else's.
100%.
And it's really just how you, I guess, perceive it, like how you go about it. So yeah. So then with that, like, do you think you can grind on multiple things?
Yeah.
But then do you think it is a grind if you can grind on multiple things? Like
yeah, because you can be going hard at something more than one thing.
That's true.
Like if I want to get really buff, I'll go to the gym constantly. Yet I can still read books and read that reading grind every night.
Yeah.
Totally. I think you can.
I guess my perspective is like, if you're really grinding on something, you'd be so locked into that one journey and goal purpose that you'd almost like neglect all the other areas. But I think let's say it's in the same category. So let's say like your grind would be like self-improvement, reading the gym, going to books, all that stuff is like towards that main grind.
All in one package.
But let's say if it was the gym grind, instead of reading that book, maybe that book is like connected with it. Maybe it's like a book on nutrition or working out or mind-muscle connections and stuff like that. Maybe that applies. But I'm saying like it's got to be in the same category. Like if you're grinding on something, that should be like, in my opinion, that's what you think about all day, every day, and that's like your goal, I guess.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think that you can't grind on multiple things. So I think that it's not a grind then, if that makes sense.
And this goes back to what you think is a grind.
Yeah, I think it's just really how you define it as like for yourself. So yeah, okay, this is like almost like a note like to that, like how to like improve on the grind, I guess. It's just like, I don't know, how do you maintain balance? It's like I found that really hard because like one day I'll be really like good going to the gym, like reading, meditating, doing all these things that like help me and like benefit me long term, and then I'll like scroll on TikTok for a long time, or my schoolwork doesn't get done, or I neglect something else to do better on like my purpose.
It's about balance.
It's so hard to maintain that balance. Like, how would you recommend people?
I do it. I mean, I don't think I have as big of a workload as you do, but I think that it doesn't matter because I still have a workload.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There still is a balance.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as it gets.
Yeah, I guess for me personally, like, how to improve, like, I think just generally, like, dude, one thing that's really fucked for me is just, like, sleep schedule. Like, I think, like neglecting sleep is just, like, a bad way of going
yourself,
about it.
bro.
Yeah, I know. And, like, having that, like, maintenance of, like, all these different things, and then like, losing out on sleep is just, like, a fucked way of doing it. So, again, like, balance and time management is such a hard skill to fucking be good at, but I think it
depends on the person, but I think, overall.
For me, I think that's probably, like, my biggest flaw is my time management is just very, like, subpar, I guess. So, yeah, I guess that's something that I'm trying to work on, but it definitely is an area of growth for me. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about, sort of like concluding thing is the importance of social media. And so I think like especially like personal social media, I'm not really talking about like business. I'm just talking about like someone's personal account. And so like I think that the importance of like a social media is like very high because so many people, that's how like people communicate now in this century, you know what I mean? And so like I think having a social media, like I just started to realize like sort of this month that having posts and having I don't know, I guess there's like good photos is like important because so many people look at that. Like even if you're getting
It's
a
a
job,
part of you.
background checks, it's almost like an extension of yourself.
No, it actually is though.
Which is weird. Like what do you think about, like isn't that not weird that like something that you post on
That took me a
online
second. Yeah.
is like something that connects to your personal identity?
I don't think it's weird because it's like I'm used to that, and that makes
I
sense
guess.
because it's like I'm the one putting it out there. It's a part of me because I'm approving of it.
I guess so, but it's like almost part of your identity. Like people will see Colin and they'll see your Instagram page is a reflection of the person you are. You know what I mean?
No, it actually is though.
Which is, it's weird and it's such a big thing that like I feel a lot of people like neglect. Like a lot of guys our age, even me included, like
posting some fuck shit.
No, like Instagram, they don't have like any posts.
That's fine.
I think that's bad because again, like if you have nothing and that's the reflection of you, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, but you're okay. You're okay. So you're thinking of the mindset of I have to have something on my social media to show this side of me.
Not have to, but if it is a reflection of you and you have nothing there, you have a weak social media. Like you know what I mean?
Well,
if it's an opportunity,
yeah. If you're not posting
yourself.
If you're not posting anything, then it's not showing a part of you. Because if you don't post anything, no stories, no lives, no posts, then you're not showing anything about you. You're solely using Instagram or Snapchat for looking at other people's stuff and videos online. So
yeah,
like I don't post a dick ton, but I have like on my Instagram I have photos that I've created because I think that that's cool and that's a way I express myself. I put stuff on my story that shows my personal interest that doesn't have to be on my feed forever. That's how I see it. And then I only follow people that have some sort of affiliation with my life. So if I follow you, that means I've met you, or that means that I look up to you. I'm not gonna follow LeBron or fucking I don't know, someone else. I'm following like Whitecaps players, somebody that people I look constantly and have involved in my life. And you could say, oh well, your YouTuber is involved in your life, your favorite YouTuber, because you're on your phone all the time. I'm going to Whitecaps games. I'm looking at them. They're in my life more than they were YouTubers. So that's kind of like, it's not a rule I have in set place, but it's like that's just how I roll. And then if you follow me, I've met you. So I don't like just let randoms follow me for no reason. Also, it can be fucked because there's scams, Indian motherfuckers, Nigerians, they go on, request random people's Instagram, they take screenshots of that and they make a whole new account and it's a scam. So if they follow Justin, they see all the photos, they like crop it and then that's a new account. They'll name like Colby Brock and then they'll have like, something like that. Can't believe I just thought of him out of nowhere, but yeah, and then they'll just have that as your scam, and it's like, hey, you want to be friends? Here, use my Bitcoin mine. It's like, so that's like, that's a scam, dude, and that's creepy, dude. I don't like my image being put out like that. You talk about self-identity. That's your new self-identity.
Yeah.
Colby Brock, bro. You're Colby Brock now.
Yeah, it is. It's weird to think about because, again, like, even if you go to college, university, like, they'll do background checks, like, for sure, and they'll search up Colin. I don't know, I'm not gonna dox you here. Well, I don't know. But they're gonna like search you up. Okay, Colin, he's got this posted. This was on his story. Not like to that extent, but I think generally they will look. They're not gonna like. It is an important aspect, and I think a lot of people like neglect that or like almost like.
They don't realize it.
They don't realize how important it is. So I think like if you can try to like improve your social media because people do look at it.
It could reflect good as well.
Yeah, it could reflect bad, it could reflect good. So
but also social media is fake in a way.
It is, because it's not really you, right?
Yeah, it's just a part of what you want.
And that's why it's weird that it's your identity, because it isn't. Like, a lot of people can just post whatever the fuck they want, and it's like, okay, that doesn't represent you. And nowadays it kind of does.
I'd love to get a psychic on the podcast. That'd actually be one of my dream guests. What does it mean if I post a dick pic on my Instagram? What does that say about you?
Yeah. Was that a psychic? Or is that like a...
Well, like, yeah, because psychics will tell you what you like. Oh, your favorite color is orange. Well, that's not like that sensitive. Like,
Yeah.
okay, tell me what you like to do in life. Oh, well, I like to do this. Oh, I see a connection there. You like this and you like that. You can be connected because this and that and that. Or they could tap into your past and see your fucking future and past.
Like psychologists and shit. Like people that know like human nature. Like that would be fucking
I don't
cool.
want to talk about it on here, but I've had some sort of psychic related like I'm not psychic, but I've had like the psychic involved in my life, not directly, but I could tell you about it later if you're wondering. But yeah, they just said they this is so weird. I'm not gonna tell a story because it's personal, but like I'm trying to think of a way I could say it. But basically, there's a psychic that has seen my future. I've never met with a psychic one-on-one. But that's just, I'll say that. I'll let you guys use your mind to think about what that means. But it looks like it's, kind of coming true a little bit. So, interesting.
Do you believe in psychics?
I honestly don't know. I don't really have an opinion. I want to believe because that's interesting and that's really cool. But I don't know. I don't really care, honestly.
Yeah. Touching on that, like my mom... my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side are both dead, and my mom went to I don't know if it's a psychic or like it's a person that like
psychic.
Can communicate with like
the dead and
dead
or just
people and
see
stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's like a medium. If you
you
see like spirits and you're a medium, if you can like talk with them.
And my mom went to this, and she's like, she didn't tell me all of it because a lot of it's like I'm not gonna say it here because a lot of it's really personal.
Yeah, of course.
But she said that the psychic said some shit that no one else would know, like in the fucking world. And she like described these people, like my mom's mom, so my grandma and my grandpa, like to a T. Like so, some of the shit I don't know if I personally believe in it, but like, and I don't have that experience myself.
Well, they're on background checks on you. They like hack that shit. They're like actually hackers. They're not psychics, dude.
No, but seeing the way that my mom reacted to it and like how she came out of it was like fucking crazy.
Dude, I don't want to get a psychic reading. I'd be scared, bro. I don't want to know my future, dude. I already know too much. I don't want to know my future. Yeah. It's fucked.
Yeah, that's a good.
It could fuck up your whole mindset, dude.
Yeah.
And I think there should be an age limit. Maybe there is, but I don't think they should be telling this shit to kids.
Yeah,
because some psychics believe that they should not be doing this to kids because it's just like fucking up their trajectory.
I see that, yeah. Because they have a big impact on how you think about it as well.
Yeah,
and maybe 100%. You try to change that, and I think that's a fucked way of going about it because now you have this pressure.
If that is your future, you're not changing it, dude. So why spend all that time stressing about it? Yeah. Right? Like, it's just gonna make things worse, dude.
Yeah, I think you probably shouldn't know, to be honest, but.
Yeah, I don't want to know. But I'd be down to have a guest psychic because like it would just be interesting talking about. What they see.
Psychologist or
psychologists, psychics, doctors.
That should be cool. Yeah. All right. I guess on that note, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you all very much for watching. That has been episode 152. Go check out the links in the bio description. We got YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, merch. Go check all those links down below, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.